Welcome to the AfterMat, your source for WWE pay-per-view recaps. I'm your host, the People's Champ Cal, and alongside me, as always, I have my tag team partner, the Glamazon Delisha. What's going on, Delisha?
Hello. Another Monday, another recap.
Yeah, and we're back to talk about Backlash 2020, and I'm really enjoying this new theme song. It really gets you pumped up for the show, I think, because as much as I loved our old one too, but it was like I think 4 minutes long, and so this one I got shorter, which lets me do my stuff anyway, and it ends about the time I finish doing all my stuff. But yeah, I really like it. This seems like more of a WWE like music package that they would have for one of their podcasts, I think, or pay-per-views. Sure. I mean to say pay-per-views, not podcasts. Even if they do it on podcasts too, who knows? But yeah. So tonight we're going to be talking about Backlash 2020, and if you guys know anything about WWE, Backlash is usually the pay-per-view that follows WrestleMania. Because it's all the backlash of much like AfterMat follows the WWE pay-per-view, Backlash usually follows WrestleMania, which is the granddaddy of them all. But they've recently changed it where now it's like Money in the Bank is right after it, which is kind of strange. But Backlash usually has rehashed matches for WrestleMania, usually even up the score. And we didn't really see that much this time around, except for maybe one or two matches, such as like the Randy Orton match and maybe the Street Profits match as well. I'm not sure if they fought the Raiders or not at WrestleMania, but whatever it was. Maybe one or two matches might have carried over, but definitely Edge and Randy Orton did. I didn't have high hopes for this pay-per-view. I was talking to Alicia prior to it. I was saying, like, whatever matches you want to cover, let me know. I just want to cover the people who I like, such as Alexa Bliss and Edge and, I forgot the third person. Oh, Miz. And so she's like, yeah, she doesn't mind covering these. And then they add another match, and like, okay, you pick it. I'll take whatever's left over, because I don't really much care. But I ended up enjoying the pay-per-view a lot more than I thought I would. I was talking to Alicia about that prior to us going live. But what did you think, Alicia, overall?
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. I think this might be the first pay-per-view I've live tweeted throughout the whole thing rather than just certain matches, and that was fun. Me and a couple people were going back and forth on what we liked and what we didn't like. So that aspect was fun, like just being engaged in live tweeting and talking to people real time about it. And yeah, but the overall pay-per-view was pretty solid.
Yeah, and for me, I think go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say, I think because all people were saying, oh, Backlash is a rehash of WrestleMania, there might have been a slight reason why they were like, oh, well, maybe we'll keep it, or we'll bring it back, but we'll put it in a different year slot or month slot to not it be so WrestleMania rehash.
And that's probably why I was just right to piggyback off what you said. I'm glad you said that, because I was about to say the reason why I probably didn't look forward to this pay-per-view is because usually it is a rehash of WrestleMania. So historically speaking, like, I already have it implanted in my head that, like, I'm not going to care much for this pay-per-view. But I seem to enjoy it. So with that said, let's go into the first match, which featured the United States Champion Apollo Crews defending against Andrade.
Yes. So this happened on the kickoff show. And we first got Kevin Owens coming out as a guest commentator on the match, but he's also been involved in the U.S. championship scene as well, also feuding with Zelina's peoples, I'll say, with Andrade and Garza, who were also at ringside, of course, to one support their guy Andrade, but also, as we'll see later, as usual, to create chaos in a match to try to get their way. We did see that happen in this match, but of course, with Kevin Owens being out there, Apollo had some backup this time and didn't have to slightly worry about Zelina and more importantly, I should say Garza, because he's the more physical presence of on the outside. And they got into it, and I believe Kevin, I think he might have they pushed him off into the not pushed literally pushed him off, but like fought off into the back so that Apollo could focus on a match, and we still could just get that legit one-on-one. And these two have kind of been going back and forth for about a couple of months, so they have really good ring chemistry already. So you see a lot of their signature moves, the Tranquilo, the high flying and power moves of Apollo versus the more technical but still could be high flying as Andrade. And of course, I would really get to the crest of the match when I think the turning point probably came when Andrade had him set up for the double knees and the turnbuckle. I don't know if that's actually a move that has a name to it, but you see him do that a lot. And then furthermore, you see Apollo. I don't know what this is called, but it was more like this. It's some sort of like pressing slam that he did into a standing moonsault.
The gorilla press slam, right? And like a gorilla press slam into a standing moonsault.
I don't know why I couldn't get the gorilla part, but I knew it was some sort of slam. And then for the standing moonsault, and then further later a standing shooting star press, and which ultimately gave him the upper hand to retain the title, which I believe was the right choice. He didn't literally just win it, but he literally just won it yesterday. So for him, it'll be futile to him to just lose it so soon after they just gave him the push to get further. So I think the right person won. I do think that we can move Andrade out of the slightly mid-tier title. I really think he has. I think we've talked about this before. He has the gusto and the talent to be pushed into that main event scene. We could probably get that now with AJ being the
Intercontinental.
Tell me. Yeah, thank you. Well, no, that's wrong. What am I talking about? Sorry. But I do think that Andrade can be pushed towards a more main event scene. But then again, they do have and Vince is like a smaller guy in that slot on. So I don't know. We always seem to get Andrade like here, and then we just bring him back down. So I just wish that he could get more star power, so to speak. But I'm also happy that Apollo Crews is also now getting the push that he very well deserves, and we're probably going to see him and KO go back at it one-on-one probably for the next pay-per-view.
Yeah,
did you enjoy this match?
Yeah, from what I saw, because I was like dozing in and out of sleep here, and but I did see the stunner that Owens on the outside, and I always love Andrade matches because like you said, Apollo Crews is a big guy that's very athletic, very very athletic. So it's cool to see. As for his future, though, I don't mind seeing him face Kevin Owens for a number one contender shot for the world title, because this is what Raw, right? So it's the title that that Drew McIntyre held going into the pay-per-view. Did he keep it? We don't know yet. But maybe him at the next pay-per-view facing maybe someone like Kevin Owens for a number one contendership to fight at the subsequent pay-per-views such as SummerSlam against whoever the WWE champion happens to be at that time. Because like I do agree with you, Andrade does have to be pushed more. I feel like him keeping at the United States Championship for a while was good. Now that he lost it and then he lost the rematch or whatever it is, he can move on. And I think he should be pushed up. I agree with you with that. So maybe, I don't know, like, because there are other people vying around there, because as we know, Bobby Lashley, we'll get to that in a little while. I don't know if it's over with that or not. But we also have people like Seth Rollins looming and stuff like that. But I feel like someone else should get another shot. I mean, a new person should get a shot, is what I should say. So I really hope it's Andrade. If they want to go the route that I was saying, maybe have a fatal 4-way for the number one contendership or whatever they want to do, I think Andrade should be pushed up. I don't know what they call this new stable. I'm enjoying this stable a lot. But I don't want it to the point where it holds Andrade back as well. It could be like the Nation when we were talking about stables and the last episode of AfterTalk of how The Rock came out of that and made it his own now and became blew up as a superstar. We could see that happen with Andrade as well. So that's what I could see happening. Welcome, Mansoor. How are you doing? But yeah, I enjoy this match. I always enjoy. Apollo Crews is growing on me. I always liked his athleticism, but now that he's talking more on the mic and stuff and getting his persona out, that's a lot better to see about him. And Andrade, I can't say anything bad about Andrade. He's great, and I love seeing him go on. All right, the next match kicked off Backlash, which was the triple threat for the women's. I always want to say women's SmackDown because I see the belt on Bayley, but it's the women's tag team championship, and the winner of this will now. Whoever wins this will defend at the next NXT against, oh my god, I don't know. I know it's my girl Tegan Knox and somebody else.
Is it, is the girl with the green hair? I always forget her name as well.
I want to say a name, but I'm pretty sure that's from another company, so it's not her. It's
I think it's like Shotzi or...
Oh, Shotzi Blackheart, right? Shotzi Blackheart, that's it.
Yeah.
Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Knox. So, yeah. So, the champions in this case are Sasha and Bayley against the Iconics, against Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. And this match, very, very weird in the beginning. It wasn't like anyone had the upper hand. Like, it was just all chaos all the time. And then, finally, the Iconics got some upper hand. Oh, welcome, Bubba. Yeah, that happens a lot. It's been happening to a lot of people I've been watching as well, but welcome. Yeah, so finally the Iconics got the upper hand, and what I did like about this, I know you were live tweeting about it and saying, like, there were some very sloppy moments and stuff like that, or, like, not clean moments, which I saw later in the night, too, with some of the men's matches. I was like, wow, that's so unlike them to be, like, that messy, but, like we always say, when there's more moving parts, there's more chance of error, right? But I did like seeing a lot of the, great double team maneuvers from these ladies. Like, of course, the Iconics had some good ones that we saw with they hold them. One of them holds their opponent, and the other one knees him in the head or whatever, and stuff like that. But the flapjack DDT that we saw with Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss is really cool to see as well. Like I said, there were some great double team moves. We didn't see much from from Sasha and Bayley. I felt like they were not in the match as much. They were getting hit a lot, but I don't think they did as much in the match, which might have been like strategic, right? They were outside the ring, kind of like biding their time and stuff. Another good spot was when Peyton Royce did the a cross body block through the ropes to the outside into all the ladies, and she landed very awkwardly. I think she got one of her arms behind somebody, and they landed on her arm, which I was like really scared for because I was like maybe she dislocated. Welcome, Big Time. Get rid of Jax and bring Awesome Kong in. I'm sure Delisha will have something to say about that when Nia Jax's match comes up, because Nia Jax is one of Delisha's favorite. But welcome, Big Time, as well. Big Time is one of the people you were tweeting with last night, I saw. But yeah, he mentioned this match as soon as it came up. He's like, oh, the Iconics are in there and Alexa's in there, so what can Cal want more? But obviously I love Sasha as well. Or I used to, I should say. She used to be my number one WWE wife until, how she is off camera came out, stuff like that, which isn't cool. But yeah, so a lot of great spots. I like seeing the double. One thing about what we see about wrestling, tag team wrestling, is I like to see tag team wrestling. I don't want to see two individuals being put together, which is most of the cases nowadays. Is two individuals being put together? Do they work? Do they not? That's how we find out. But like old school tag team wrestling, I love that, and seeing tag team maneuvers is what defined that era of the time back in the day before all you guys were born. So seeing those tag team match moves were great to see. Which brought us to the end of the match. I think it was Peyton Royce inside the ring. Alexa got her down, went for the Twisted Bliss, nailed it, got a 1-2 count, and then I think Sasha came in and then rolled up Alexa and got the 1-2-3 count. So now they have retained the championship in an underhanded way, which was expected. Actually, it was not unexpected. Yeah. We're going to get to that at the end, Bubba. But yeah, so it was fun. I really like this match. I always say when they throw too many people in the match, especially in the women's matches, there's always chaos, which saw some of that, but this was actually really fun. I really enjoyed it. The double team moves that they brought out were great, and I had fun. Like, great storytelling in the match, too, with the Sasha and Bayley being kind of like, what do you call it? Like, not sneaky heels, but like cowardly heels. So, but yeah. Well, we'll have Delisha address those Naya comments when we get to the next. I think it might be the next match actually. But yeah, she'll get to those. Delisha, your thoughts about this match?
Yeah, I did really enjoy it. Yeah, a lot of some of those bumps didn't really come until like near the end, where everyone was trying to, how they all have everyone do their like a signature type
Mm-hmm.
of move type of. That's where we get a lot of not as neat moves, but it didn't bother me. But I feel like they might be gearing up to build up the tag team, with the women's tag team again, like they did when they first brought out the titles. And maybe that was the reason why Sasha and Bailey got the titles again. So, because I know Sasha was very vocal about the first time of wanting to um build up the women's tag team scene and like make it a legit like contending title, which is why you see them more so than we did anyone else are going to Raw, they're going to NXT, they're on SmackDown. So I really hope that they stick to that, because I mean, again, it's something they had promised when they brought out the titles on the first go around, that they can compete across brand, and then by the second or third, I guess almost, yeah, by the time when they put it on the Iconics, they're like, oh, we're just gonna ignore all that for a little bit. But now it's kind of glad to see that that they are seeming to keep that promise again of going cross brands to promote these titles, and seeing other pairings like we're getting Tegan Knox and Sochi Blackheart, who they have been teaming up, not as like a legit tag team, but more like people who have come together to fight other people who are like ganging up on women and stuff like that. So, but now that they have this title contention, you might can see them be more of a presence as a unit. So I'm excited. I think it was the right decision to keep them on Sasha and Bailey, because they, again, literally just got them. Um, so I'm glad to see them retain, and again, hopefully, to help push forward some more tag teams for the women.
Yeah, this might be the first time Sasha ever successfully defended a championship in the main roster, I think. So that's cool to see, I guess. But yeah,
Breaking that curse.
and but you're saying like I think the Kabuki Warriors did a great job as women's tag team champions too, because they defended against pretty much anyone, and they did it well too. They kept in character, and it was really good to see them. So hopefully, like you said,
I that people who were holding them were bad. Just that they weren't being presented like they were supposed to be. That's what I'm saying. Like we got, like I said, we got.
Well, I mean, I'm saying, but Kabuki were the first ones to jump. I think jump back and forth. I think that's what I was trying to say. So they jumped on all the things. Speaking of Kabuki, oh wait, not speaking of Kabuki, that's on the next match. The next match is see, I could care less about this match.
I know.
Jeff Hardy against Sheamus. I didn't even know this was a match. I forgot about this. And I think Delicious cover. And funny thing is, I think for this part, like when this match came up, I'm like, oh wow, it's gonna make us go like back and forth between one of her matches, one of my matches, one of her matches, one of mine, and this could be cool. But then it didn't happen that way. I said, Delicious, you'll take this over.
Yeah. So this match, I don't know how people in the chat felt, but it kind of was a weird. I don't know if backstory is the right word of how they're presenting this rivalry to be. Because at first when they were first doing the shades of Sheamus in the beginning, getting jealous of Michael Cole hyping up the return of Jeff Hardy, I was just like, oh, okay, cool. Heel who doesn't think like this returning vet deserves a shot, and that's what they have been doing. But then 2 weeks ago, I believe, they did this whole like drunk driving DUI. I shouldn't call it a skit, but program. I don't know about to play into the fact that of Jeff's past of alcoholism and pain addiction, and it was just a really weird scene to digest. Like, I get what they were doing and why they're doing, because of course with Shane's being heel, this would be like a very heel tactic to frame him for a DUI. But it it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. And of course, I know that they would both have.
It also left a bad taste in Sheamus's mouth.
True. True. Because if you saw the video package or watched SmackDown last week, he forced Jeff to take a urine test in order to sign off for the match, and he wound up throwing it in his face, which, I mean, of course, we know that wasn't real urine because when he threw it at him, it looked like water. But it was just so, I'm like, what is this? But yeah, I mean, both they're doing what they could with it, and of course, with them having to both need to sign off on another to, make it believable. But let's get into the match. The match was pretty much all Sheamus anyway. They really made him the brute force or the broke force. I don't know if that makes sense in this match. I mean, we did see Jeff doing his normal moveset with the not giving up. Of course, the babyface trope of you can hit me with all you want, but I'm not gonna give up. And I think what really sealed the deal was a bro kick on the outside. Like, look, that thing looked like legit kick to the face, like in slow motion. That was just like, oh my gosh, wow. Don't want that in my face. To again getting it on later in the ring. I mean, honestly, it was a pretty solid match. I think these two actually work well together. But yeah, it was just a weird backstory on how we got here. I was just like, ooh. And I actually thought with Jeff getting beaten down so much that they were gonna pull the usual trope of, oh man, he overcame so much and he won, but he didn't. He lost. So I was like, okay, well, where does this go now? Because we did all this, build up towards this match, and it was pretty much a clean finish. So I don't know if these two were just done for now, or if they're gonna do something else on Friday to keep this feud going. But it was actually it was a really solid match. I mean, I'm not gonna think any match with Sheamus is gonna be bad, but sometimes with Jeff and his age and he should not be doing these big high flying moves that he's used to. But so I am sort of glad that he's a little bit more grounded now. But overall, it was a pretty good match. I don't know if you watched the match.
I watched it. It was a good match. I wasn't expecting to see a good match. But like I said, I really don't care for his matches unless he's jumping off a ladder or doing something crazy, which he really didn't do in this match. He did try to go up the along the barricade, the ice hockey barricade, and jump off into that, but he got hit, I think. But yeah, in the chat we're getting a lot of stuff like Bubba's saying that they should push Sheamus instead. Big time agrees. I agree as well. Like, you guys know I'm a big Sheamus fan. I really enjoy Sheamus. I feel like he deserves one last shot, especially with all his injuries, and he's been still putting in while he was injured, wrestling tag team with Cesaro and taking the pin every single loss they ever had, or submission or whatever. He's always taking the fall for the tag team, and so on all the work's been put in. I think he should get one more shot, one more big push, and that's what Bubba was saying as well. Big time agreed with him. And I was gonna say, Bubba actually beat me to the punch. He said that they should put him into the match with Drew McIntyre. That would be a good way to go. I don't know which brand. I always forget which brands people are on.
Because SmackDown, he would have to go
against Braun Strowman. So yeah, that's the thing.
There's
Bubba.
so many guys.
There's so he probably had to go against Braun Strowman. I think he could beat Braun Strowman. He probably won't, but I think he could beat him. So yeah, so Bubba, I know you haven't watched for a while and stuff like that, but they've done this in the past where they had two brands, Raw and SmackDown, and now they kind of keep it where it's just like Raw fights Raw, SmackDown fights SmackDown. And the only people that go between brands are they kind of added the wild card thing again, which I don't get, but they don't call it wild card; they call it something stupid, and they have the women's tag team champions can go between both because they're not brand licensed or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I want to see Sheamus get a title shot. Maybe he can start off against AJ, win the Intercontinental Championship possibly, and then carry that on to being a champion versus champion match later down the line. Maybe at Survivor Series, Intercontinental Champion versus Universal Champion. I know they usually do it within the two brands going against each other, or three now. I don't know, but I just want to see Sheamus get pushed. Jeff Hardy, he's better as a Hardy boy, but that's not going to happen anymore, as we know. But I know that he did have a good time early in the Attitude Era, or whatever you want to call it, a Ruthless Aggression Era, when he was like whatever champion he was, and fought people like Rob Van Dam and stuff. That was kind of cool, but not anymore for us. Like, other people can get pushed. I feel like people who actually deserve it more should get pushed. That brings us to the next match, which is a highly contested topic in the chat. So, Felicia, I don't know if you saw any of those comments earlier. If you want to address that in the chat, address that through your discussion of this match, which features the Raw Women's Champion, Asuka, defending against everyone's favorite here, Nia Jax.
And just to clarify, she's not my top favorite, but I enjoyed her a lot for the most part before her injury. But this match, for the beginning portion of it, really was mainly all Nia Jax, of her, being the power player here in this match, dominating Asuka, just literally throwing her all across the ring. And it really wasn't until she started taunting Asuka in the line of, where's Kari, saying who she. I don't think she's like injured. I think she's just like written off, like, oh, Nia like beat her up, stuff like that. I mean, I know she did face like a slight injury, so I'm not dismissing that. But as far as like put on TV goes, she wasn't featured, I think, in the last 2 weeks. So that fueled Asuka's fire to like get back up with a series of like kicks and strikes, and put her into, I think it was called like an octopus hold. She was supposed to. It looked like she was supposed to just have it put on her, on the ring rope, but I think she slipped a little bit or couldn't get a full hold on it, so she wound up slipping onto the apron there. But they wound up working it out anyway, with Nia falling off and then her giving a struck kick to the face when she landed onto the floor. But I know a lot of people were talking about a jackhammer move that Nia had put on Asuka that didn't go so well. I think did she land on her head? I think she landed on her head, and that's been a big contention for a while now. Not just in the last few weeks or months, but I literally since her return from an injury, it seems like she's been a little bit more sloppier in the ring and not protecting her opponents. And a lot of people, I did see some people calling for her to get fired in the chat, but then, or I think Big Time was like, okay, maybe not fired, but putting back on developmental to work on that. I don't know what the background or behind the scenes conversation that they're having. I don't know if they have addressed it with her and she's just not listening, or if no one is really sitting her down and be like, hey, it's not cool. It's because it's not just fans yelling to the void. It is a actual issue that could wind up really hurting one of her opponents or co-workers basically in the ring, which your job is to put on a show and still protect your co-worker, your opposing fellow, to make sure that you're protecting but also putting on a good show. And it's not like it's not like she doesn't have the skills to do so. We know she does. Mostly but I'm pretty sure people in the chat saw her come up in the NXT arena when she debuted, and she was the total monster. She was great. So I don't know where the regression is coming from. So like I said, I don't know what the conversations in the back are with her, because neither me or Cal or W, even though it seems like Cal does, because they're always working out on things that he says. But in the end of it all, Asuka does retain the belt via a weird double count out, because they did stay out on the ring apron, and with Asuka kind of again going crazy with the strikes and the kicks, and she tried to get there the last second to get back in, which she didn't really need to begin with, because she is champion, so she has that championship advantage. But they wound up double counting them out, so we're probably going to get this match again at the next pay-per-view, which I don't know what it is, because my mind is already automatically going to SummerSlam. What is it?
Extreme Rules.
Oh yeah, Extreme Rules. Right. So because of that double count, they're probably like, oh, okay, you guys are a no count out or some sort of match where they can beat the hell out of each other.
Last woman standing or something like that.
But because of Nia's reputation, growing reputation of not protecting her fellow workers, and the double count out kind of left a sour taste, not only in my mind but in a lot of people's mind as I was seeing online. So it was fine. Nothing literally to write home about.
And I can't write anything out about this because I fell asleep during the promo package for this match, and then I woke up at the double count-out bell ring. So that actually woke me up. So I didn't see any of this match. So I can't comment on it. I didn't want to go back to watch it because I really didn't care much for it. However, I can comment to what people are saying in the chat and all that stuff. Now, would you say there's anybody that is super big in the women's division to the status of how big Orton was and Cena was during the Attitude and all those eras, PG era, all that? Charlotte is big, Becky is big, but I don't think they hold a candle to what, like, you know, how big Orton and Cena were back, you know, during that Attitude, Ruthless Aggression, not Attitude, I should say Ruthless Aggression and PG era. I don't think Becky and Charlotte have touched that yet. They probably will when they get later in their career, but I don't think anyone's touched that kind of, you know, light or whatever you want to call it. The reason why I say that is, when you have someone dangerous like that, take for example what we had back in those days, such as Ken Kennedy. He was released because big names like Cena and Orton complained against him to Vince McMahon. Can anyone in the women's division, like, buy that right to have that kind of, like, pull backstage? Probably the only person backstage in the female division that could do it was probably Ronda Rousey, right? Just because outside, bringing all the stuff from outside that she could have, as well as someone like Stephanie McMahon. I think those are two biggest names in the women's division. And the Bellas, obviously, but they're not around anymore. So basically everyone
I would say Charlotte could have a little bit more pull like that.
Yeah, I don't think she's to the level where if she goes, oh, fire him or I'm out. Like, I don't think it's going to be like that.
Yeah, I don't think that she said fire that person, but she could, if she brought that concern to the back, I don't see them ignoring that.
I don't think anyone has to be the concern because I think everyone sees it. It's already evident. Are they going to act upon it? And that's what people in the chat are talking about, tweeting about, and all of that. No, I don't think it has anything to do with relation to The Rock. I don't think The Rock has anything to do with that, Bubba. I know you say that. Big Time said that. Sorry, I know Bubba said that before. I don't think that's gonna matter. Honestly, I don't think that's gonna matter. I'm sure people have been. I'm trying to think because the whole Anoa'i family is huge. So people have been probably releasing I think Umaga was let go before he died. Stuff like that. Jamal and Rosie, all those guys have. I don't think anything has to do with a relation to The Rock. No, I don't think so. If anything, The Rock could probably bring her back by saying, "Hey, listen, give her another chance," and he'll bring her back. But if you're seriously hurting your talent, you can't relate to someone. You can't rely on someone's relation to somebody. I think The Rock would see past that. Does that mean you're leaving because you spelled here wrong? You mean here as in listen me out, or here you're out?
Yeah. Or I think Big Time could also say it may not be directly The Rock being influenced, but because she comes from a big contributor of family members who are in the ring and outside the ring a part of the business, it could be a subconscious factor. That might be what he might have.
Maybe, but I don't think people even know. I don't think I even knew that she's related to The Rock. I thought Tamina was, but not her.
But no, I mean if let's say she got released tomorrow, not that I don't think the fans would be an outcry. I'm talking about backstage,
Oh well.
I have a better term, backstage politics. But I'm just saying, that could be a subliminal factor, if that even is a factor. Which I agree with you. I don't think it quite is. I just, like I said, I don't know what it is. I don't understand.
What I'm going to tell you is wrestling and WWE is bigger. But I understand what you guys are all saying. But wrestling and WWE is bigger than any person, right? Even though we say The Rock has superseded wrestling because he's now a big star outside of it, and his name brings so much shine back to WWE. Still, once he left, the machine kept churning, right? CM Punk left, the machine kept churning. If she leaves, and then not Samoa Joe, Joe Anoa'i, what's his name, Roman Reigns, I gotta go because she left. And the Usos go, guess what? They're going to find new people, and all those people who we talk about, hey, they're not getting a chance, they're going to be given a chance, and the machine will keep churning because they don't give two craps about any of these wrestlers. If they did, they wouldn't be wrestling now during this COVID crisis, right? So it does not matter. You can say all the politics you want. That might let her keep her job, but at the end of the day, if you have someone like a quarterback who keeps throwing like lobs up in the air and gets intercepted, or like receivers getting hurt, that quarterback's gonna be benched or cut from the team. That's gonna happen, eventually to other people. I don't think that either, because it's still going, and they're still making money. They lost a lot of money, obviously, because they can't sell tickets or merchandise at events, but it's still going. If it was a problem, it'd be shut down like the NBA and all that kind of stuff like that. So I don't think it's an issue. And it will keep going. No matter after Vince McMahon dies, it's gonna keep going. It's just never gonna stop. It's that churning machine that just takes the souls of all their workers and feeds off their souls and then lets them go eventually. And that's what happens, And it's always gonna happen. People thought when Hogan left, WWF, that's what WWF would be over. Then Brett left, WWF would be over. No, it's still here, and they get new names. Like you wouldn't think of all these people who'd be new names. Like back in the day, when people like Austin Rock were gone, Kofi was still a small person. Then he nowadays becoming the champion. They're gonna find someone else to work off of, and they'll keep going. It's not gonna matter who it is, and that's what I had to say about that. I don't think that any family relation might keep her longer than it should. But ultimately, if you're jeopardizing the business, I think they're going to learn their lesson. I think that's it. All right. I was giving him a chance to talk in the chat. I don't know if you had anything to say either. But
I mean, like I said, I don't understand. Well, I don't understand why she wouldn't want to try to protect. But I do think I think it was big time. Again. Pretty good point. It could be that since coming back from what is this? Maybe her second injury. I think there could be that confidence loss factor, and that's what's making her sloppy. But again, I don't know her. I'm not backstage with her. I'm not there seeing what's going on, so I can't sit here and try to like say what's what or not, because I'm not in this industry. I'm just a spectator who watches once a month. Watches the pay-per-views once a month.
I don't think she's intentionally trying to injure anybody. Like you said, maybe she has ring rust, stuff like that. Big time is saying as well. She's trying harder now because she wants to make an impact. Because you got to make an impact to show
People
yeah. So, but I feel like if enough people, like we said, not to that point where I said no one has a big enough name to speak up in the women's division compared to what it was back in the PG and Ruthless Aggression era. But if you have enough women speak up, that's going to make a difference. If, like, Asuka says something, Kairi says something, Becky says something, like, and all these people are like, hey, I got injured by her. But you know what? Seth Rollins is still going. He's not related to The Rock, right? And he's injured Sting and Finn Balor and all these people, and he's still a big-name person. He's not related to The Rock, so what's going on there? So think about that as well. Oh, didn't he also break John Cena's nose? He did break John Cena's nose, didn't he? By doing, like, the ripcord knee? Yeah, he did. So what about that? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, these people are not related. He's not related to The Rock yet. He's still there. So it has to do with how much you're going to use of your soul. And I don't think Nia Jax is as big as Seth Rollins. Like, superstar-wise. So...
Yeah, and also, I know it's reality television. And from what I see on Total Divas / Bellas and Instagram comments, she is very well liked by the other women in the back. So it could just be like, maybe... Like I said, they're not going to Vince.
Is she well liked or is she feared?
Say it again.
Is she well liked or is she feared?
No, well, isn't she like Alexa's best friend?
Well, now Alexa says Ember Moon's her best friend. So I don't know. I don't see them together anymore in like TikToks and all that. Now Nia Jax is with Lana and Natalia in TikToks and videos like that. So
together.
No, I know he cried. I get that, but I'm just saying, big time, like. These injuries happen. So I don't think anyone's tied to anybody. Accidents will happen because they're that physical. They're sweating. They're tired. I don't know. I just think I don't think it has anything to do with The Rock being there. So if she's well liked, then maybe that's why she's still there. I honestly don't think it has anything to do with The Rock.
He is, like, as a person, she is well liked backstage. And like I said, I only know this from Total Bellas / Divas, and then Instagram comments on her post. from other wrestlers, not fans, but like from other wrestlers, like
All right.
challenges.
This is the most attention Nia Jax has ever gotten in her life, so let's move on to the next match, which features Braun Strowman against Miz and Morrison in a 2-on-1 handicap match for the Universal Championship, whereas whoever pins Braun Strowman or submits him will become the new Universal Champion. This match, I was like, oh god, it's a Braun Strowman match. I'm not going to like it, but I'm going to cover it because I love The Miz. So I'm going to have to cover it. And Braun Strowman is just stupid in the ring. It's just like 4 moves over and over. Just let me run around, yell, hit you, yell, throw somebody, yell. But I really like how they came across this match with distraction, with the distractions and all that, and then like so like Morrison would distract Braun, Miz would come behind and hit him, then Miz would distract Braun. It was really fun. And, John Morrison did a lot of what do you call them? I guess enziguris off the rope. I don't know, springboard enziguris and stuff. Those are cool. And then Braun would always counter it because he's stronger than both of them combined. So we had some cool moves, and the best part was, I think, Morrison came off the top of the double. I don't know if it's a double stop or a drop kick, but Miz at the same time did the skull crushing finale. He rolled off, and Morrison was the legal man, so he went for the pin. 1, 2, and then Miz pulled him off and then he realized what he did wrong. He's like, I'm so sorry. And then he put him back on, but when he put him back on, he should have got on top of him as well to make a 2-man pin, which he didn't think of, but he should have done that. He didn't do that, and Braun kicked out, threw Miz out of the ring, hit the running power slam, and pinned John Morrison. That might start some dissension down the ring. I guess the next SmackDown, we'll see if that's going to cause dissension between Miz and Morrison. But I was fun. Like, I really enjoyed it. I didn't think I was going to enjoy this match. You know what it is? I think I went to this pay-per-view as well as a lot of these matches with a very low bar. And when they, all they did was, kind of, just trip over it, which they did. And it was fun. I had a lot of fun with this match because the distractions and how well Miz and Morrison act instead of character. So they kind of brought some character out of Braun, but not that much because you can't really do it because all he does is scream and yell. But it was fun to watch, and I enjoyed it. And they sowed the seeds of dissension between Miz and Morrison with him pulling it off. But it's funny that Miz realized right away he got a little wrong, what he did wrong. And I think the announcers also kicked it in to where saying, oh, that was Miz's championship mentality where he pulled off because he's not going for the championship. So it played it off very well. I enjoyed it. I had fun in this match because I thought I wouldn't have any fun at all, but I enjoyed it. Delisha, your thoughts?
To me, it was just okay. I didn't really care. I'm not the biggest fan of this jokey Miz Morrison shtick that they're doing right now. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's not landing with me. And then I guess it's entertaining in a way, but I just want, because I don't see it going anywhere. That's why I'm just like, what are we doing this for? I don't know. Yeah. And this match, it was fine. There was nothing that stood out to me. I don't know. I think I was on my phone. Probably.
Yeah, but I gotta ask you, have you seen anyone have a good match with Braun Strowman? That could lift him up. That can't lift him up. Because some person like Brock can throw him around, so that would be kind of cool. Or Goldberg maybe could throw him around. But people like Miz's size and Morrison's size, can you see them have a good match with? Yeah, so that's what someone just said. That's right. I missed who said that in the chat because it went by fast. That he needs a mouthpiece. Yeah, Bubba said that. He needs a mouthpiece. He's just a big bruiser. Yeah, what I see Braun Strowman as is one of those old school action figures that have noise that come out of it. Basically, it's just a stiff action figure that goes this, and you raise his hands, he goes, raw! That's all he does. And that's what he is in the ring as well. He's got no personality. I don't think his mic work is good.
The thing with Strowman is they've booked him as a walking slogan and t-shirt seller.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't connect with Braun as much as I did in the beginning when he was first getting, the very first push that they fumbled so badly. But now they just given him the slogans and t-shirt selling, probably because he probably does good merch wise, which is probably why they keep doing it. So that could be another factor, but I'm just also not a fan of this reincarnation of Miz and Morrison.
Another thing I want to say about him is he's a lot like a lot of people who are in stables, kind of stables, that are the muscle, right? Because he was in the Wyatt family. He came out, and now he's not really good on the mic. He's just the powerhouse, right? Same thing with Roman Reigns when he was part of the Shield. People like Rollins and Ambrose on the mic more, right? And when he came out, he was just the powerhouse, and people got tired of him quick. I think people are probably tired of Braun already, but we don't know because there's no audience, obviously. But yeah, it's who are you gonna put against him? You know, I think the only person maybe would be like Kane, Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, and Super Cena, right? Those are the people who could beat him. So you know, maybe Lashley as well, and I will see Sheamus go against him, and then have Cesaro maybe help out or something. I don't know, but one person I think could beat him is maybe the Fiend using his supernatural powers. So is that going to come back to that? I think they just had a baby, right? So I think that was
Oh yeah, that's true.
so maybe yeah.
So you probably took some time off for that. I mean, yeah, we do have. I mean, SummerSlam's a big pay-per-view to bring it back because they do have unfinished business still. So, yeah, but with Braun, you could also, but the fact that because he's I was gonna say because he's the babyface, you could do that David versus Goliath type storyline. They could still do that with another babyface, honestly, but just make it a really good match.
I don't think you're gonna have a good match with him.
Yeah, again, it's funny because if we go back to Roman Reigns, it's when he was put into the WWE machine, so to speak, of here's what we need you to say, and because he's pushing so much merch, that he became this monochrome, bland persona. But if you noticed before COVID happened, when he was able to be a little bit more of himself, like the fans were taken to him more. So I feel like if they trusted in their talent more, and especially because we've seen Braun like in other like either backstage moments or when we had the mixed match challenge, like he was very charismatic and funny in those, but we don't get to see that, or they amplify that too much to be where it turns to be a little bit more jokey and not taken seriously, that the disconnect starts to happen. So I feel like maybe if this was the perfect, this whole COVID stuff was kind of a perfect time to play around with that, letting your talent kind of experiment a little bit and show a little bit more of their actual ability on the mic. But I guess they're kind of afraid because of ratings, stuff like that, of also they were saying of not being high. But
yeah, I think Bubble said bring him back into the Y family and have him be the muscle, but they can't do that. They gotta have him as a champion. Or bring back Cena, but I don't think Cena's coming back. Here's what I picture happening. Whoever Braun Strowman fights at Extreme Rules, if he does, which I think he will, whoever he fights, I don't know who he'll fight, maybe Sheamus, who knows. At the end of the match, the lights are going to go out, and the Fiend is going to come out now. Because it used to be Bray Wyatt, right? But Fiend is going to come out, and he's going to have that giant, like, Harley Quinn sledgehammer, and he's going to, like, start beating on Braun Strowman. And I think that's what's going to lead to the SummerSlam match between those two. But that's what I see happening. All right, let's go on to the next one, because we've been putting Nia Jax and Braun Strowman, giving him more time than they've ever gotten. To maybe somebody else now who I feel deserves more time, and I saw this a lot in the tweets from Big Time and such during the live tweeting, is Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship. Drew McIntyre is your champion. Like we were talking about before the show, I'm not really a Bobby Lashley fan. I used to be a huge fan of his when he first debuted back early in the 90s, or late 90s, early 2000s, whatever it was, when he first came out. First ever time he came out. 2000s, yeah. Because I've been watching wrestling since the Greco-Roman era, so I don't,
I know, they all fucking put together, right?
Yeah. So, like, whenever Bobby Lashley first came out, I used to love Bobby Lashley, but then he got boring and stuff like that. And then when he started wearing the headband, which made it even worse, and then all that kind of stuff. But now that he's with MVP, it's pretty cool. So, Bobby Lashley's already in the ring. Prior to the match, you see MVP telling Lana not to come out because you have no business there. You're really going to be a distraction. Bobby Lashley comes out to the ring. Drew McIntyre comes to the ring, and before they can even say, like, hailing from whatever, what they do in the middle of the ring, the standoff, Bobby Lashley attacks Drew McIntyre, puts him into a full Nelson. Skipped a tag match. I didn't skip a tag match. What tag match did I skip? No, that was after this match. I have it in order. It's in order. If you're talking about the Montez Ford match, that's the second to last match of the night. If you want to even call it a match. So he had him in a full Nelson, and he was destroyed. That looked like it really hurt. He had him in really well, looked really cool, a lot of power behind it, and finally took him off. And then like they asked Drew, okay to compete? He says, yeah. Then they start competing, and this is the best I've ever seen Bobby Lashley in the ring. Maybe Drew McIntyre brought it out of him. I don't know, but Bobby Lashley looked great in the ring. Don't get me wrong. He's a great athlete. He can do crazy power moves, suplexes, and stuff like that. But this was awesome to see. He pretty much dominated Drew McIntyre from bell to bell. Drew McIntyre got the counters in here and there, but for the most part, Bobby Lashley dominated him the entire match. When it came out to the end of the match. Lana comes out, and we're like, okay, here it goes. This is gonna suck because she's gonna ruin it for him. And what does she do? She gets in. Not only does she come to the ring side, she actually gets him to the apron, climbs up the stairs, distracts Bobby Lashley, and she has the fake, like, oh, I almost hit you. Oh, thank God I didn't hit you. Turn around. Then he gets actually hit and hurts her. Hits her, and she flies into MVP's arms. Then Bobby Lashley turns around and gets Claymore to the face. 1, 2, 3 is over. I don't think that's the end of their story. I think they're going to maybe get one more match. This time, maybe it be like a cage match or something so that no one can interfere or something. But it was really good. Like, I really enjoyed this match. I didn't care much for this match either because I'm like, Bobby Lashley's like boring and stuff like that. But this was the side of Bobby Lashley I've been wanting to see since back when he first came. Like, he was great to see. He was ruthless. He was powerful. He played a good ring story. All was very well told. I think MVP brought a lot out of him. So did Drew McIntyre. And it was just a great match overall. I really enjoyed this. Delisha? We'll run to the rest of it.
Yeah, much like you in every other match, I wasn't having high expectations for this one, but they really blew it out of the park. Is that what I'm looking for? Anyway, they did a really good job with this match. Bobby Lashley was the strongest he has ever been, and Drew was on the defensive for most of his match. I don't think we've seen that since maybe Brock, possibly. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong. And I am really hoping, fingers crossed, that this is the end of him and Lana, because they did not work. They talk about disconnect. For me, I was like, I don't want, every time they were on the screen, I was like, can I turn the channel? And I did not. But I really do think with MVP being his manager, so to speak, that's a really good look, and I want them to keep this up. I almost was like, oh man, they're gonna put it on Lashley for already, but no. But maybe, like Kyle said, we can get them at Extreme Rules in some sort of stipulation match, and we can have another good run with these two. This time with some sort of like cleaner finish or some sort of good wrap up storyline for this feud, because I'm actually now interested. So now I want to see how this goes, but I'm really hoping that they cut off Lana.
Yeah, I as much as I like seeing Lana, I think she's better with Rusev. She should stay with Rusev. I don't know why she's not with Rusev anymore. Obviously, because she's not with the company, duh, I know that. But I'm just saying, I enjoyed her with Rusev. Bring Rusev back. All that kind of stuff. But yeah, this is the best I've seen Bobby Lashley in a while. I'm really enjoying it. I want to see where the story goes because it's fun. Will he become champion? I don't know. I feel like Drew waited a long time for this and really earned his way. Not saying Bobby Lashley didn't, but I feel like Drew really, really worked his way up through the ranks, going back to NXT and everything like that. And so I really think Drew should hold for a while, maybe lose it at WrestleMania, if that. But yeah, we'll see. All right, next match features, if it's a match, features the Raw Tag Team Champions, Street Profits, against the Viking Raiders. Delisha?
Yeah, so this one was billed to us as a tag team championship match. They have been building to this for I feel like the last 3,000 years, although it's probably just the last month or so, with these anything you can do, we can do better vignettes, which were fine for the first few times and then got old really quickly. Still, they had entertaining moments of those vignettes, but at the time we were like, just get with it. Let's just get a match. And I thought we were finally getting that, and they were finally going to see these two great teams go at it in the ring. And that's not quite what they did. We did get a fight. It just happened backstage. So we get the announcement that match is coming up, and then they get interrupted and like, oh, something's going on outside, and they're fighting in the parking lot for some reason, which never explained why. And then someone gets thrown into Braun's car. I forget who.
Eric.
Breaking the windshield, which happened I think either last week or 2 weeks ago on SmackDown, thanks to Ms. Morrison, but he got fixed. And then I guess that was the whole payoff of showing him arrive to the arena in the car in the first place. And I was like, okay, again, we don't know why that happened, but it happened, which led to them fighting throughout the Performance Center, and where the Tree Profits grab gold golf gold golf clubs or just golf clubs? Just
golf
golf clubs. And then Eric and Ivar grabbed axe and a shield.
And a bowling ball.
Well, they had... Oh, yeah, and the bowling ball. I thought he grabbed that later, but you're right. He did grab that when he grabbed... And a bowling ball. And then that's when Montez was like, we should just fight like men. And then they keep fighting, going off. And then I believe it was Ivar who hit Montez in the crotch with a bowling ball. I guess reminiscent or throwback to their time having a bowling ball competition. But we also see Dawkins spearing, then I guess in retribution, spearing Ivar through a door or a window. I just know it was glass.
Door, yeah.
Glass. And then they took a break and they wanted to back out in the parking lot. And then this is when things got weird. So they're in the parking lot. They're just having a discussion. And then out of nowhere, you see these motorcycles pull up. And I'm just like, what is this? I thought it was going to be like a group of wrestlers or like another stable. Especially when they pull off their helmet and it's Akira Tozawa. I was like, oh, cool. We have like maybe another stable into the mix. And we have these unnamed people. They're of motorcycle ninjas, guys. Ninjas. Who Akira says in Japanese that anything they can do, his group could do better. We never really got that because the Street Profits and the Vikings formed together the Viking Profits, which that was pretty funny. And they again fight them off fairly quickly, fairly easily. No contest. And then Akira he just like motions forward. And I'm like, what are you doing now? And like this big giant black dude in a ninja outfit. It looked like Shaq to me, although I know
I thought it was Shaq too.
It looked like Shaq. What they we call it a katana?
Yeah.
Sword. And then we get Ivar calling a turkey like Thor's hammer Mjolnir. I can't say
Mjolnir.
I'm gonna be like, yeah. And which actually does nothing because then they just like no dude. And I think Eric says he could take them. They're like, no, you can't. So they're running. So they run onto a big ray, which had conveniently stacked baggage or whatever for them to climb up on. And so they run from the guy. We never see this guy, the big black ninja guy, do anything. They wind up on another side of the parking lot, and then wound up in a dumpster. To which the female referee comes up and asks him like what are you doing? You guys have a match coming up next. And they do the running joke of Ivar like, oh, you're cute, and then Eric not so much, that whole running joke. And then there was a alligator in the
No,
dumpster.
it was like an octopus
There was some sort of creature in the dumpster that prompted them to get out, and that was it. And I was telling I think Interchange 45. I don't know his actual name, but I was saying I didn't quite enjoy it, although he loved that match. But I didn't quite enjoy it because I feel like if we hadn't had all those vignettes of them beforehand that led to this, I might have enjoyed it more. Like maybe if we only had 1 or 2 vignettes and then we had this, I was like, okay, cool. They're paying off them going back and forth. But I was really excited to see a really good wrestling match between these two because they're such good teams. And it's been so long since they actually had a match against each other. It's been so long since these two actually had a match, to be honest. And I was actually really looking forward to that. And then to get this, that didn't quite make any sense of why they were fighting in the backstage in the first place. There wasn't even an argument that we saw, like that led up to this. I kind of felt really disappointed. And as much as I love both the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders, I didn't really like this segment of the match. And maybe, like, again, if I was more prepared for this to happen, but you sell me a wrestling match and then you don't give it to me, and I'm disappointed.
I had fun, like, because I don't really care much for these guys, so it was fun to watch, like, an act, kind of like a boneyard match or whatever you want to call it, like.
But you also didn't have to go through this for a month and a half straight of these two shenanigans
Oh yeah,
backstage.
that's true.
So
So yeah, this is
he's
like fresh
already
for
back.
me. Yeah. But I mean, they did kind of show it back when they did like the flashbacks in their heads. So that was kind of funny too. I did like the Mjolnir part where they pulled the chicken leg. That was so funny. And then I guess it was a callback to Star Wars with the monster and the trash compactor. I think that's what they did with the dumpster thing. That kind of been like the thing for the why there was a monster in there. But it was fun. I mean, but you know what? I thought there was gonna be a match because she says your match is next. So I thought they were gonna go. Now they're going to the ring and actually fight. But they went to the main event. So. Yeah, it was fun. It was good. I want to see what happened with the big dude like Shaq. I don't want to see what happens with that. Maybe that'll come to fruition next pay per view at Extreme Rules. I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't Shaq. But it was fun, I guess. Yeah, it wasn't really a match. If you're really expecting the rest of the match, it was pretty cool. Otherwise, that brings us to the final match, which is billed as the greatest wrestling match ever. I don't know if you can say that prior to the match because one, does it jinx them, and two, does it put too much stock into the match, and three, you can't say it's the greatest match ever if it hasn't occurred yet. Or maybe it's pre-recorded, but I don't think it was. They also, before the match, said there's going to be a new type of like audio and visual stimuli used or whatever they said. So basically they added some new camera angles, like one in the turnbuckle, one like, they have like a GoPro that came over one of one of their faces and stuff. Like, it was kind of weird. A lot of weird stuff happened. Also with the audio, they pumped ring noises as well as crowd reactions into it. So the crowd there was like a live crowd from the developmental people, but they also like piped in boos and cheers. Delisha, your camera went out, so you might want to try it off and on again. But can you hear me, Delisha? Oh, I can't even hear her anymore. If you can hear me, Delisha, just let you know that your camera's off and on. Like, you want to flick your camera off and on. But yeah, so it started off very slow, and I might text her because I don't think she's seeing it.
Sorry.
Oh, I hear you now. Your camera's out though, but I can hear you now.
Yeah, sorry. I had to fix something.
All right. So yeah, so it started off very slow, and it was good ring countering in the beginning, right? Where where Orton would have the one up on Edge throughout the beginning of the match because like it'd be arm drag, and then Orton would counter it. Then it would have like the run over, like when they sling to the ropes run over, Orton would counter it with like tripping him up. So it was really good ring psychology and stuff like that in the beginning of the match. Then it got brutal, where it's just like crazy hard strikes and suplexes and like every other move you could think of. A lot of submission moves, kind of like chokeholds and headlocks. I guess that's how they were talking to each other, but a lot of like leg scissors, headlocks, arm triangles, arm bars, like a wrench, what's it called? Arm wrench. All like leg scissors. It was tribute to old school wrestling. Good way to put it, big time. Very good way to put it. It was very old school wrestling style. Like if you went to Harley Race's School of Wrestling, you'd probably see a lot of this stuff happening, and that's what it was. Very old school technical wrestling with a lot of finesse put behind it. Where you really see the grinding of the headlock kind of thing, like what they used to do back in the day. And and they really sold it. I think they really went hard on those moves because you'd see a lot of times where like Edge's face turned red and Orton turned purple. So they're really putting a lot of stuff into the match. Like they put their heart and souls into it. And also what I heard is Edge got hurt early in the match where he tore his tricep. So he wrestled with a torn tricep the entire rest of the match, which is kind of crazy to see. They took some spots to the outside where Edge outsmarts Orton. They went to the announcer table, but they didn't break it, I don't think. Came back into the ring, hit their spears, hit their the old school moves like the Edge-O-Matic, Edgecution. He even went for the Educator. Didn't get all of it in there, but they did a lot of old school moves. Not to mention that we see old school moves from other people, like the Pedigree, the Rock Bottom, the Angle Slam. So that it's very true. It's been put on the wrestling news that he tore his tricep at the beginning of the match, and he kept going. Not at the beginning. Sometime during the match he tore it, and then finished the match. But yeah, that's why like they put a lot into that match. And Orton got busted open. They countered each other's like signature moves and stuff like that because they knew what's coming. Orton hit 2 RKO's and Edge kicked out. Edge hit 2 spears. Orton kicked out. it was great, solid action. Seeing them doing other people's moves, that was so fun to see. Like I was cheering. I was, the audience actually really got into it too as well. Like they're just standing around and act, but I think they really got into it too because like when you saw the 1-2 after a signature move or finisher and then kick out, they're like, oh my god, like, and I was like that too. Like the last time, like I said, I listened to a reaction like this was when Kofi fought Daniel Bryan in the Elimination Chamber. The last two left, and Kofi kept kicking out. And I thought he was going to win, and he didn't win. That's the last time I invested so much emotion into a match as I did in this match. It was so fun to see. It was a clean match, I should say, too. Pretty much clean match all throughout until the end where I don't know if it was clean or not because there was a bad camera work. But there were some mistakes as well. But the bad camera work at the end, I kind of took away from the end of the match where Edge had Orton in an arm triangle, standing arm triangle. And I think Orton supposed to need him in the groin, but it looked like he needed it in the stomach as the camera angle. But I think the way that Michael Cole played it off, or whoever the announcer was, said like, "Oh, he got him in low blow. Was that a low blow?" And then he punted, so that made Edge go to the ground. Orton backed up and did the punt and got the 1-2-3 for the win. And then I think he talked to him after saying like, "Listen, I told you I was gonna do this to you. Now go back to Beth, go back to your 3 beautiful kids, and tell him Uncle Randy says hello." But then he patted him on the chest like, "Hey, good job." Like that was just I think a little thing between them two. But it wasn't the greatest match ever. It was just kind of crazy because I watched the pre-show and Rosenberg said, and I mentioned this on AfterTalk last week, saying like one of the best matches I've ever seen in my life, and this is during my lifetime actually. I mean, not Delicia's yet, but my lifetime and Big Time's lifetime was WrestleMania 3, Ricky Steamboat versus Macho Man Savage. And I said that's one of the greatest wrestling matches you'll ever see in your life if you ever go back and watch it. Alicia, if you've not seen it yet, go back to WrestleMania 3 and watch that because with only $9.99, you can go to WWE Network, which I know you have, and watch that match from WrestleMania 3. And Rosenberg said at the beginning of the match, he's like, I hold every match to that caliber. So that was a heartfelt tap. I definitely believe that tap at the end was definitely heartfelt. But that was a great match. This was a great match. I think even Orton and Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles had a great match in SmackDown, and that was just SmackDown. We've seen some really great matches in our lifetime. When we saw Andrade versus I think was it Johnny Gargano at NXT when we went that one time. That was one of the best matches I've ever seen live. Probably is the best match I've ever seen live. And there were some really great matches, and this did like. I wish they didn't build it as a great match ever, but I went in like, oh god, they're gonna do that. But they actually did live up to having a really, really, really good match. Greatest match ever? I don't know. If you've seen WrestleMania 3, Orton Steamboat, if you saw those other matches that are 5-star matches, like Gargano even versus Tommaso Ciampa and any of those matches, they are 5-star matches. This could probably go up as a 4.5, 4 3/4 star match. Maybe 5 if you round up. But this was a great match as well. Like, I'm not going to say it's the greatest match ever, but it definitely lived up to the billing of thank God they put that out there and it actually lived up to a really great match. Delisha?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this match way more than I thought it would. Like you said, because they kept hammering it as it was going to be the greatest wrestling match of all time, that really hurt this match, actually. Because you stuck that moniker on it, I feel like there was no way they were going to reach that caliber. Like, if they just let this happen organically, like, you could still have the same build-up, but just be like, just me and you one-on-one in a wrestling ring, let's just hash this out, or like they were doing, then we would be like, oh snap, then the fans probably would have been calling this the greatest match of all time. It's definitely the greatest match of 2020, that's for sure. We can give it that. So far, because we still got 6 months left, y'all. It could have been less. Anyway, but yeah, it was a really good match. I really enjoyed also the storytelling that these two were playing in the ring with the callbacks to the other wrestlers, like Orton doing the pedigree because he does have ties to Triple H. I think Edge did an angle slam at one point.
Orton did it, I thought.
Orton did the and then also Edge doing the rock bottom. Like, it was really cool to see them like pay tributes to a lot of their veteran counterparts who have paved the way for them to this moment, and they definitely hit out of the park. It is unfortunate that Edge just suffered injury. I feel like it's not a uncommon one, because if we remember, Dean Ambrose or Jon Moxley now had suffered one as well in a ring a couple years before. So it's not like it's not a career ending one. And I saw that Bubba was saying he needs to stay home if he's going to get injured so early. We don't necessarily know when he sustained his injury. People were assuming it happened in the beginning, but we don't know. We really don't know at what point he sustained the torn, was it torn rotator cuff? Torn
Tricep.
Tricep, okay.
So that means he can't like bend his arm as much. So that's kind of crazy. Like takes a lot of range of motion out. So
yeah. Well, I'm just saying it's not like it's not a career ender.
Yeah.
Because he has access to some of the best healthcare or doctors in the world.
You would think, but CM Punk is left for reasons contrary to that.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be WWE ones, but he has access to getting to the best care he could. And he has a lot of respect. They're gonna take care of him. Not to say they didn't respect Punk. I'm just saying.
They didn't.
But okay, we're not gonna get into that. That'd be another 20-minute conversation. But it is unfortunate that so soon after a comeback that he had to sustain another injury. So depending on the state of it, we probably won't see him again for the rest of the year. Besides, like giving maybe a satellite update on what's going on, but they accomplished what they had to do was put on a great performance for the fans which is their job. And at some point we'll probably get the rubber match between the two, possibly, or they get Rocky and Apollo and have it off camera. But anyway, it was a really good match, and like I always say, when Orton cares, he does great work. So I'm always happy when that happens.
Yeah. But yeah, to what Bubba was saying, like he should stay home now if he's getting hurt that much. The thing is, he signed a 3-year contract. I said when he first came back from WrestleMania, the next day he signed a 3-year contract or 5 or whatever it was. But it's gonna be like not as bad as Undertaker contract. I shouldn't say bad. I should say as good. It's more like a Brock Lesnar contract where it's like he shows up once in a while. So it's not like because Undertaker shows up once a year pretty much, maybe twice, a few times prior to WrestleMania, but to lead up to WrestleMania, but just only at WrestleMania. I'm not sure how old Edge is, but probably 50s maybe. I don't know, late 40s, early 50s.
On the late 40s, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. But yeah, he's not going to show up as much, Bubba, so it wouldn't matter. Like, this is probably a good time because now this could play into the storyline. He can stay out for a while and then come back. And maybe probably bury the hatchet with Randy Orton, possibly. Yeah, maybe have one more match, like Alicia was saying, and then bury the hatchet. But it would have to be at a bigger pay-per-view, right? It would have to be at, like, SummerSlam, which is not going to happen now. Survivor Series...
no, it's going to be in front of a crowd. A legit crowd.
Yeah, it's not going to be Survivor Series. I don't think it's going to happen. Next time we're going to see this is either at WrestleMania or Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. Because it's got to be one of the big pay-per-views for the rebound match. Rubber match, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, like, this was a great match. I really had fun. I was dreading it because they announced it as the best match ever, or greatest, whatever. But it was a wrestling match. Like, I was surprised to see that. But it was a wrestling match, and it was fun. The one move I don't think we saw, maybe due to Edge's injury, because I know Orton has to do the move, but Edge has to actually participate in the move, was the power slam that he does, the quick power slam that Orton does. We really didn't see that. He tried to do it, but Edge countered out of it. But yeah, that's the one move that of all their moves that we really didn't see besides the Educator. But it was good. We can't forget he did the Unprettier to pay tribute to Christian as well. So it was really fun. I had a good time.
I mean, I don't know, but I wasn't feeling really salty. It was just like because a week or two before, I had just watched something where Christian did not like the name of that move, Unprettier, which is why when he came back, he turned it to the kill switch. Yeah. But they probably didn't want to name it that this time around still. But I was like, oh man, he hates the name of that move.
Yeah.
But I just thought that.
Well, that's why as if anybody, the FU was cooler, then it became the attitude adjustment because of they don't want to have FU anymore, kind of PG stuff. So yeah, kill switch would not be the best name. I enjoy the name. I enjoy the name Kill Switch better as well, but especially with what's going on in the world now, you don't want to have that kind of stuff going around and stuff like that. I'm glad they didn't do as much race comedy that they've been doing, you know, in the past, especially with like people. You know, I guess maybe they are hearing the message and stuff like that. As much as they hold down some talent, you know, they could do a lot of that stuff with Montez and what are the other guy? Dawkins, right? Is that his name, Dawkins?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, your favorite tag team of all time is Edge and Christian. Yeah, I really love Edge and Christian. I've been on like old school. Well, I mean, as well as you. I'm a Heart Foundation kind of guy from back in the day. I like the Midnight Express. You know, even the Oriental Express. I love them too. Which one goes well nowadays either. Or I think the Orient Express, whatever they were. Something. I think it's Orient Express, and like stuff like that. Like what? Yeah, Murder on the Orient Express, but there's a wrestling tag team called the Orient Express, and Mr. Fuji was their manager and stuff like that. So this is back in the days.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so back when like wrestling was like the black guy was like the guy from Africa, the Indian or Arabic guy was the like the Sheik character. You know that like when wrestling was so stereotypical, that time was like that's when like they had Orient Express and Kamala and all that kind of stuff. Like it was just really bad back then. It's not like how it is now, but that's, you know, the most recent they did it was with Booker T and Crime Time was when they did stuff like with race stuff. I think for that, to my knowledge, that's the most recent they've done it, I believe. I think against minorities, I should say. I can't think of anything else, but yeah, caricatures as Big Time calls it. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess they did with like the Punjabi Playboy with Great Khali and Jinder Mahal and all that kind of stuff. But you know what I mean. Muhammad Hassan was another one that they did too as well. But I think kind of ended in the Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression Era, possibly. Who knows? But I digress. This was a great match. I enjoyed it. You enjoyed it. Which brings us to our finishers. Delisha, your low point, your high point, and overall grade.
I think the low point, I'm sorry guys, is gonna be that Montez Ford Viking Raiders match, mainly because I was expecting something so much greater, and like I said before, if I hadn't been saturated with so much of their backstage shenanigans for the last month or so, I probably would have been more entertained with this one. It was literally what they've been doing the whole time, just on a more cinematic scale, so to speak. I mean, it's not like a low basement point, just like a disappointed low point. I think the high point is going to be I mean, how could you not give it to Edge and almost Edge and Christian, to Edge and Orton? Just because, like I said, I was like already on like, oh, they can't possibly live up to what they're keep stating this match as. But they did pretty damn close. Like I said, if they didn't have that moniker, we probably all would have been saying this is the best match we've seen in quite some time. And they ended the show, and this was a true, in all of its glory, a main event. And I'm giving an MVP to the crowd because they were really on it. I know for throughout the whole night they were really on it. And a special MVP to Candace Carter. She's the girl with the blonde braids. Like for the last few weeks or whatever.
The Ember Moon bootleg.
Huh?
The bootleg Ember Moon.
Oh.
I saw bootleg Becky Lynch last night too. I was like, oh, look at bootleg Becky over there. I don't know who it was, but it was a bootleg Becky on the left hand side behind the Asian guy.
Okay. Yeah.
Go back and watch and tell me who that bootleg Becky is.
Okay. I'll probably see her tonight on Raw. So, I don't know how many times they did in like one setting, but she was just high energy throughout the whole night. So, and for like the last couple of like Raw and SmackDown and SG tapings, like she's always like on it. But yeah, I'm overall great. I think I'm gonna give it a B+. Most of the matches were pretty great, and some of them didn't quite take the landing for me, but overall it was a pretty good pay-per-view. So B+ for Backlash.
Yeah, so for me, my low point would have to be the Braun Strowman match, mostly because of Braun Strowman, nothing to do with Miz and Morrison, because they were great. Braun Strowman really can't do much in the ring, in my opinion, and I think Miz and Morrison did the best they could with Braun. And like that skull crushing finale from the double team skull crushing, that was awesome to see. Miz and Morrison's character during and after that pin was great to see, and I enjoyed that match a lot. So for me to put that as a low point, it's kind of crazy, but that just is a testament to how good the pay-per-view is. unfortunately, I can't judge the Oscar match because I fell asleep during that. So otherwise, I'd give that the low point, but I wouldn't be a fair judgment of it because I haven't seen it. So high point, I had to agree with Delisha as well as Big Time in the chat, saying that the Orton and Edge. Oh god, I almost said Orton and Christian. Orton and Edge was that was and like Delisha said, it was truly deserving of being called the main event. And this was the main event of the year so far, in my opinion. Like Alicia said, probably the greatest match that we've had this year. So I really enjoyed it. I had a great time watching it. This was definitely the best match in a long time for me. Not counting NXT, obviously, because NXT always puts on some great matches. But on the main roster, this has been the best match I've seen in a long, long time. And I wouldn't be surprised at it being a contender for being match of the year on the next AfterMat Awards. Mark my words right now. That was a fantastic match.
I was literally about to say the same thing. I was like, well, I know it's going on everyone's ballot next year.
But I don't see anything beating that, but we'll see what happens when the year comes on. Because don't forget, for what you're saying, that a crowd gets MVP, yes. But don't forget, a lot of how we feel about a match is how the crowd lives off the match, right? So the fact that they do that without a crowd, I know there are people there, but I mean a capacity-packed pay-per-view card. The fact that they did that was amazing. Like, that really got me into the match. And then, like I said, I was really sold into that match. I loved every kick out and all that. I was with them there. So I resembled bootleg Ember Moon. What was her name again?
Candice Carter.
Candice Carter. I was just like Candice Carter right there. It might have been me wearing those blonde dreadlocks. I don't know.
That is your pay-per-view spots though. So
yeah.
Isn't that?
Oh no! When I went, I was next to the ramp. Like when the ramp comes out, I was on the side where like right when the ramp. So if you're looking up at the Titantron, I'm on the right side of the ramp coming down, like right there in the front.
I'm sorry. It's Caden Carter, not
Caden Carter. Okay. Sorry. So yes, did you find bootleg Becky's name yet? Go back and watch any of the matches. She was right behind the Asian guy on the left side of the ring. So normally where I sit, to the opposite side of the ramp. A little bit back is the bootleg Becky. I don't know what her name is. But anyway, and for overall grade, I'm going to give it an A-. I rarely give pay-per-views A's, so I was going to say B+, but like I felt like I really enjoyed it. The last match pulled it out of the B slot and put it into the A slot, so I give it an A-. This was one of the best pay-per-views I've seen in a while since Survivor Series of 2019. I really enjoyed it for a pay-per-view that I had such low expectations for. So maybe that could have been why it exceeded expectations in all regards. So I don't know. I really enjoyed it though. I guess that's it. That's it for Backlash 2020. Thank you guys for joining us and telling us what you guys thought and chiming in, Bubba, as well as Big Time Gaming. Really good to hear your input and all that. Delisha, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Delisha Renee. And you can find me always here, hanging out with Cal, talking wrestling, and intermittently with our AfterTalk show, doing a more in-depth look of wrestling topics. So, but always look to our Twitters to find out when that next one's coming up. And that's basically it.
Or just look up.
Come at me.
Or just look up above me, because right now the next time you'll see us is at Extreme Rules. The pay-per-view is on July 19th, so you'll see us on AfterMat the Monday following on July 20th. As for me and streaming, I'm taking time off from streaming because like I really want to enjoy games. Final Fantasy is one of my favorite games of all, if not my favorite game of all time, and it kind of sucked that I had to only play it on stream. So I was every night when I was in a party chat with my friends, I'm like, I wish I was playing Final Fantasy right now. But they're like, why don't you play it? I'm like, well, I promised I'd only play it on stream, so I'd have to play it and then wait 2 days, play it, wait 2 days, play it, and then wait a whole weekend and play it. So it kind of sucked for me. So I'm gonna try to enjoy Last of Us 2 because I know spoilers go out really fast for that game. So I'm gonna enjoy that off stream, play it on my own, and have fun and get really engrossed in the story and all that kind of stuff. So I'll be off for streaming until maybe September, video game streaming. Unless I find another game to play in between now and then. My next game scheduled to purchase is Avengers the game, which I don't mind playing that on stream because I can play that anytime. It's not a big deal. But Last of Us being a very highly story-driven game, I'd rather get immersed in the story and not take breaks as long. So, and I'm going to be off social media for a while. Like I said, it's the world is kind of crazy, as you guys know now, and like a lot of ignorance is being spewed on both ends. So I just don't like seeing it. I try to be positive about it. Even though I play the heel on the show, as you guys mostly know, I like to be positive and keep things positive around me, and I like to make people smile and laugh. despite whatever I say. I might say stupid stuff here and then, but like really, you should be there for each other. Like it's a really important time that you be kind and stuff to people. And I don't really see that in social media, and I see people letting other people down and really talking down to other people. And people have been friends for the longest time saying, "Oh, just unfriend me because you don't agree with what I say." I think that's just not the world to live in. It's just not. I don't like that. I don't like that. Like I really want love and peace and everything like that. So this is coming from the heel. I got to break character for a second. Yeah, I hope Big Time knows I was joking with him with the stuff I said earlier on as well. Like I'm the heel. I just jab and rib people. But in all sincerity, like I'm a genuine, honest person, and I love to love people. I care about people, and I don't like what I see. I don't like how people are treating each other, and I just try to stay away from social media. You can DM me and stuff like that. I'm gonna get back to you because I'm a very sociable person, and I like to interact with people. But I don't like seeing some of the stuff I see, and it's just terrible. But during these times, make sure you just be kind, be safe, because that's what we care about. We're all in this together, so no need to discriminate against people, hate people, put them down, nothing like that. We should be all building each other up, and spreading the love. So until then, guys, make sure I tell you don't bring anybody down, but make sure you slam the haters though. That's part of our outro. So that's slam the haters and be the champion of your dreams. Until next time, guys, we'll see you later.
Time to get extreme.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays.